Crusades. Today these words sound like some medieval entertainment full of knights and romantic adventure, but the reality was quite different. It was a tragic 200-year-long clash of civilizations, Christians versus Muslims. A clash that could be simply described as the Battle for Jerusalem. A clash that was fought so bloody that even today many historians call it the darkest chapter of medieval history. So what's the point? Jerusalem is a city where the holy places of three religions are located within a few hundred meters. The Jews have their Wailing Wall, the Muslims have the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and the Dome of the Rock from which, according to tradition, the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven. A little further away is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, a Christian complex on the site where Jesus Christ was crucified, buried, and resurrected. It is clear who controls Jerusalem, controls access to all the holy places. And in 1195, Muslims have been there for 4 centuries. Pope Urban II is therefore determined to do everything to wrest Jerusalem from Muslim control. In Clermont, France, he announces a firm crusade. He portrays Muslims as infidels and heretics, Palestine as a land of unlimited wealth, and most importantly, he promises all participants in this holy war that they will be forgiven of all sins and will go straight to heaven after death. That is an offer that cannot be refused. So nobles, especially from France, but also fanatical poor people, set out on the crusade, a total of 60,000 people. They follow the Pope's motto that the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill," does not apply to non-believers. And so their journey, 4,500 kilometers long, is accompanied by terrifying atrocities from the beginning. Thousands of Jews are still murdered in the Rhineland. By the way, these are the first mass pogroms of European Jews at all. When they besiege Muslim cities in present-day Turkey and Syria, after conquering them, they automatically kill all their inhabitants, including women and children. All Muslims, all Jews. When the city of Antioch is conquered, even the local Christian community falls. Moreover, because they have run out of supplies in the scorching heat, they kill their own horses and drink their blood. In one case, cannibalism even occurs. After conquering the city of Ma'arat an-Numan in present-day Syria, 8,000 inhabitants are killed. Some are then roasted and eaten. Everything culminates in 1099. After 3 years of travel, the Crusaders finally reach the gates of Jerusalem. Even though their ranks have been depleted by a good 70%, now there are only 14,000 of them. They finally managed to conquer the holy city. And as before, they mercilessly massacre all the inhabitants. 30,000 Muslims and Jews. They turn the Al-Aqsa Mosque into stables and the Dome of the Rock into a church. Jerusalem is now ruled by the cross like on the Mediterranean coast, where 4 Crusader states are created. The Muslims are in complete shock. At that time, their civilization is on many levels higher than the Christian one, and so they start calling the European invaders barbarians from the West. Now they are planning their own holy war, the jihad, but due to internal disunity, they do not succeed for long, although they manage to reduce the Crusader territories in the north, which is why the completely unsuccessful Second Crusade is declared in Europe. But Jerusalem is still in Christian hands, and so it will be for 88 years. Everything begins to change when Sultan Saladin comes to power. As the first ruler in the Middle East, he, through military force and several mysterious deaths of his opponents, manages to unite the entire region from Egypt to Syria. Now he wants to go down in history as the one who will reclaim Jerusalem from the barbarians. We are in 1287, and it is a time when the Crusaders are at odds for a change. The 2 great orders that were created to defend the Crusader territories are at odds: the Knights of St. John and the Knights Templar. Kings alternate between those who are either in favor of cooperating with the Muslims or those who still hate them. Among them is the new king Guy de Lusignan and his first advisor, Renaud de Chatillon, who harms Saladin as much as he can. Renaud finally captures an unarmed caravan with Saladin's sister, and that is the last straw for the Sultan. The war begins. The Crusaders gather the largest army they have ever had in the Middle East, 20,000 men. But due to constant arguments about tactics and further progress, they find themselves surrounded by the rocks called the Horns of Hattin, exhausted and thirsty. The Battle of Hattin is the most important battle of the entire Crusades, and the Crusaders lose it by a wide margin. In the end, 17,000 Crusaders are killed or captured, including the King of Jerusalem, Guy of Lusignan, and his advisor Renaud de Châtillon. Then Saladin heads for Jerusalem. On the way, he captures one Crusader city after another, and when he stands before the walls of the Holy City, it should be an easy task. There is no army anymore, only refugees and the remnants of the soldiers led by Balian of Ibelin, one of the few knights who managed to escape from the massacre at Hatimi. There are only 14 knights in the city, and so Balian promotes to knighthood all who come to his aid. And the siege begins. The defenders know what awaits them when Saladin takes the city. The memory of the time when the Christians conquered Jerusalem and massacred all the inhabitants is still fresh, but their defense has no hope of success. The siege engines at one point break through the walls, and it is only a matter of time before the Muslim armies invade the city. Balian therefore puts all his cards on the table. He threatens Saladin's defenders that the defenders will completely destroy all the sacred mosques before surrendering, and so a compromise is negotiated with Saladin. He gives him the city with the undamaged mosques in exchange for the city's inhabitants being able to ransom themselves. Whoever pays the ransom will be able to leave. It is October 2nd, 1187, and Saladin enters Jerusalem. The Dome of the Rock is transformed from a church back into a mosque. Now for a change, Jerusalem will be ruled by a crescent moon, and the hordes of defeated Christians are returning to the Mediterranean coast, either to return to Europe or to continue trying to nurture the dream of a holy kingdom in the Holy Land.